Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single.
This is loaded. 2 out. Hard hit into right. Back at the wall. Tie game. At the wall, a leap and a catch. Andy Chavez takes a home run and turns it into...
Welcome to the Ball Club.
All right, welcome to the Ball Club. I'm your host, Joey, here with my co-host, Harrison. Austin's out tonight, got a lot to cover. We're going to go over the wild card series and then the potential matchups for the DS series. So with that being said, let's just get started. Harry, how's it going? I know you had a little rough weekend here.
Yeah, man. Shout out, Austin. We miss you, bro. Can't wait to see you next week. But you're missing an episode where Harrison's going to be very sad, speaking in the third person right now.
Sad Harrison.
Yeah, so it's not the worst episode for you to miss. Yeah, man, what a disappointment. What a just complete meltdown. Classic Mets fashion. Like, let's be honest about it. It's nothing new. I think we let up back in, I want to say 2007, 2006, we went to the NLCS against the Cardinals. And then 2007, I think it was 07. We had a 7-game lead on the Phillies, 7+. I think it was 7 or 7.5. I got to check that. And we let up that lead, and we didn't even make the playoffs that year. Not only did we not win the division, we didn't make the playoffs. 2015, we go to the World Series. 2016, we face the Giants in an epic 1-game elimination wild card round where we lost 1-0. Fans sent home packing. Game was also at Citi Field. Syndergaard threw 8. I think he went 8, almost. I think flawless. Like I think he pitched 8 shutout innings. Familia, who was our closer at the time, comes in the 9th and gives up a home run, a solo shot. We lose that game, I think 1-0, if I remember correctly. Bumgarner shut us out for the Giants. And it just felt very eerily similar, except we didn't have the pitching tonight. I think Bassett has proven now that, I think this is something that can change, but he's proven that he was not ready for big games mentally.
I agree with that.
He seemed to falter under pressure. Joey and I were speaking offline or we were speaking yesterday about who they should have started. I don't think that there was another choice.
No, you're right. That was probably a bad take by me. I mean, I thought Walker maybe could have been the guy, but
I don't even think he was on the roster. I don't think he was even on the roster originally.
Right.
I think he was brought. He didn't. Walker somehow didn't make the starting roster. I mean, dude, there's tons of questions on management, different calls that Buck and the front office could have made differently for the past month and a half, man. Like, it's not just the past week. We let up a 10.5 game lead to the Braves. I think there's been hard times for Mets fans. There's been 4 teams in MLB history to ever let up a 10.5 game lead in a division. That was a stat I saw. So Friday, obviously, we get blown out. I didn't even watch the game. I was looking on my phone. I was at an engagement party. I was watching the game on my phone, saw Josh Bell rip a 2-run homer, and I was like, all right, I'll put this away for a sec. Yeah, it was early in the game. I was like, I'll put this away, I'll look at the score and see what's up later. And I look and it's 7-0. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not even going to watch this game. Next night I'm home. I'm like, all right, like, let's go. Like, we need 2 in a row. They show up. Pete has a big home run middle of the game to bring us up 3-2. And then we have a big, I think it was 7th or 8th inning to go up 7-2. Ottavino almost blows that game. 7-2. Manny Machado's up with the bases loaded and he walks him to bring in a run. So tying runs at the plate. And thank God we got through that game, but it didn't even matter. We didn't have it. We didn't have it yesterday. And honestly, we haven't had it for about a month and a half now.
Let me jump into some stuff here.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of go through with you on the Mets. So I've talked about this before with Scherzer in an earlier podcast where I didn't think Scherzer that, he's getting older. He's the mad dog. I get it. But I think, they have him for one more year. They have to look at skipping a couple starts, maybe doing some inning limits with him because he just looked exhausted. And he went 4.2 innings, 7 earned runs. He had this problem last year with the Dodgers. He's not a young guy anymore. So I think it's even though he's got that big bag contract, like they're going to have to do something next year to limit his innings. And I know he was limited this year, but it was also because of injuries. So there was like buildups and stuff like that. So I just think that's something they need to look at next year. And then game 1, Darvish just had the Mets number. I mean, he was killer, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. And then one thing I wanted to ask you about is like, as a Mets fan, not only is this like a heartbreaker for you because you lose this series that I think a lot of people thought the Mets could win, is you have to look now, DeGrom, Bassett, and correct me if I'm wrong, Diaz are possibly not on this roster next year.
Yeah. No,
so that's another thing to think about now.
Yeah. No, that's 100% right. I got my dad, his birthday was September 30th. So, this is before we even lost the division. I got him for his birthday, DeGrom jersey, but I couldn't give it to him until yesterday. So literally like we're losing 7-1 and I texted him, he was wearing the jersey and I texted him, you should return. He had the tags on still. I was like, you should return that. And I was like, I don't think, we're going to lose this game. And I don't think we're going to have DeGrom next year. We'll
talk about free agent landings on the offseason, but it's very,
but he did speak about, he did speak about opting out. And I don't think that sounds very good.
No, he's very open about that. He will opt out, which I think I get. He's the best pitcher in baseball. Like I think he wants a bigger bag, but it could be, who knows? Maybe he wants to go somewhere else. I don't know.
I want to pay him too. Like, I don't want them, dude, like the worst thing we could do now, like he really screwed us too, because now, the front office is thinking, well, DeGrom didn't have a great September. Like, maybe we don't give him the bag. Like, no, we should give him the bag. Like he's our guy.
Pitcher like of his caliber, you have to.
He's a Nolan Ryan, right? Like generational talent. Like it would be such a mistake to let him walk in free agency. So we had him, we've had him since 2014. And I think that we definitely need to do what we can to keep him. And hopefully we do, man. But like, it didn't sound very good. Scherzer, back to your point, about being tired, had a tweet come out. I saw a tweet that came out that he was blaming, I don't know if he was joking or not, but
he said that he got overworked last year.
Yeah. He was blaming Dave Roberts for being overworked last year. And it was like,
that's kind of a cop out. Just take accountability.
Like, dude, you wanted to, like we watched you and we loved it, but like you wanted to stay in, to games games this year that you didn't need to stay in for. So it's not just, on Dave Roberts, it's on you too, like to know your body, you're 40,
right. Got to know your limits, especially at that age. Yeah.
How do you not know your limits yet? You're a veteran. And even if you think that might be the case, I think that you have to just take responsibility for putting on a bad outing. And, we gave you $40 million this year. Like,
right. You expect more
of
what
we paid for. Yeah. It's not what we paid for. Look, I mean, there's not much bright side right now. We've talked about the management. We've talked about Epler and the moves that we made at the deadline not being enough. Darren Ruff being an absolute just zero. Naquin didn't even make the roster. Vogelback, had a hot month in August, and then really has not done much. And Alvarez was brought up late, but bright spot. We got Alvarez now, right up on the team. I think next year he hopefully starts off with the team. We get him reps. We got Petey. We got Lindor. And
there's still a core there. It's just imagine
there's still a core.
You have to retain some guys that may be out the door. So, and I think Bassett has like a mutual option. So I don't know. I guess you could look at that as a bright side, but he has a buyout as well. So it's really up to him, I guess. But I wanted to talk about like the hot story of this series. So, I'm sorry, dude. The last thing I had on the Mets real quick is that they couldn't hit a beach ball that last game. I mean, they were just not looking. Joe Musgrove was cutting them down. And then I have this ability to see into the future just a little bit, right? So I'm in this group chat with you and your cousins, and I'm like, and my brother, I'm like, what's going on with Joe Musgrove right now? Like his ears are super sweaty, right? I'm like, how do you have sweaty ears in Queens in October? It was just like excessively sweaty, right? And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, literally like the next inning, Buck Showalter asked him to go out there and check him, and now he's getting checked for a substance check. So I know Andrew McCutcheon put out this tweet saying that it was, I think, icy hot. He said, "Here we go. I guarantee Musgrove has red hot on his ears. Pitchers use this to stay locked in. It burns. It's not sticky stuff." So it could have been that. The umpires went out there, checked them. The best part of that game was the umpire rubbing Joe Musgrove's ear, but it came unfounded. I want to know what you thought. Did you think there was something going on, or?
So a couple things. You're not taking anything away from you, but you're not the only one who said that they saw this, earlier in the game.
No, amongst our group,
I know. I'm saying what I'm saying is though that like I got a text because I was watching on my phone on the train, right. So like I couldn't really see, but I got a text from this guy that was like, yeah, like second inning, I noticed this guy's ears were like shiny, and Buck waited till the 6th or 7th inning, and he was like, he should have checked in the second, throw him off a little bit. Like the Padres were stepping out of the box, right? They were doing things to throw Bassett off. He should have, if Buck's so smart, like Andrew McCutcheon saying, Buck's so smart, why didn't he do that in the second inning? Why did he wait?
Right. It could have been Buck just trying to throw him off the groove. Buck could have known it was nothing, but who really knows?
Yeah, and we talked about this. Musgrove seemed hype, but like we were hitting him after that. So like the inning after he comes back in, I forgot who gets a hit off. I forgot if anyone actually got a hit off him, but I just remember like that was when I think Pete got a hit, and then Mark Canha flew out to right field, like deep.
I think you're right. We were talking about this, about what would have happened if the umpires deemed it to be illegal. So this happened twice last year where they take a sample of the substance, the pitcher gets ejected, and then they test the substance, and then they come back. And if it comes back to something illegal, the pitcher gets suspended and fined. I mean, just imagine if it was something like a playoff game, they would have had to protest that game, like maybe even possibly replay it today. Like, I don't even know what the consequences would have been, but they went out there, they checked him, they said it was nothing. So it could have just been red hot, like McCutcheon was saying. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, two things. One, there's no way that they would replay the game. In my opinion, they would give him a suspension and fine the Padres. But also, what are pitchers doing putting red hot on their ears when this has been such a big topic this year? Like, just don't do anything. Like, why are you even like testing it? I'm not blaming Musgrove. I'm not saying that like,
I don't know who does this or how many pitchers do this. Yeah, I don't know.
I've not made that excuse once.
Right.
Like that.
No, Joe Musgrove's my guy, so I don't want to suspect him of that.
I'm just saying. No, I don't even think he cheated. I'm saying that if you like, why would you if that's what he was doing, putting red hot on his ears? Like, I think that's just fucking stupid. It's kind of like, how Tatis like took this medication that wasn't by like given by one of the team doctors. So he's like playing innocent because like, oh, like I thought like that this was okay. Like,
I mean, I guess it is okay though, because they were cool with it. So I don't know,
Yeah, but why would you even put something on your ear or anywhere that you can like rub or like whatever?
I'm going to tell you why right now. I'm going to tell you why. Why? Because pitchers do weird shit, bro. Like baseball players do weird things. They really do.
Yeah, but why would you put a substance thing? Yeah, I get it. But
I don't know. I read, I've never pitched. I wish Austin was here for that. I know he pitched, but they said it locks you in. So you got to be
smarter. You got to be smarter if they're giving out. Like they could have been like, yeah, like there's something on his ears. Like we don't know what it is, and he's got to come out of the game. So I'm not saying he was doing anything wrong, but like, you got to find a different way to get locked in, bro. Like you're a professional. Like, I don't know. Like it's like, why would you even risk that?
I worked for him, I guess. So it's, it's a weird thing.
Okay. So you're blaming so you're saying he pitched. I don't think Musgrove would want you to say like he pitched so well because he had
because of icy hot or red hot or whatever.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't think he would want that. I think he was locked in and he was awesome. Don't get me wrong. This guy, I've never seen a ball. We couldn't touch him. I've never seen a ball move the way that his slider and curveballs.
I think David Cohn was saying that his spin rate and his velocity was up to, which kind of like put more things into question, or could have just been he was having a good game. We don't know. We're not there. I mean, you aren't we weren't the one rubbing his ears, unfortunately. So
I'm not, I'll stay not rubbing his ears.
Yeah.
I'll stay on that train.
So we'll move on. Good job, Padres. They take 2 out of 3. They're going to move on. We'll go to the Guardians. Rays. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick though, like just shout out. I mean, this sucks, but like just shout out Padres. Like,
as baseball fans, gotta be
Mets. Like, but yeah, we are not talking about at all that they actually played really well.
They did.
They got 2 great pitching performances from Darvish and Musgrove, and their lineup came through, which they haven't come through for literally 2 months since they got Soto. Everybody's been bashing them, and you're on this pod saying that Brandon Marsh is a better player than Soto. And
okay, let's not get crazy.
There's all this stuff out in the media about like how much of a bust that trade was. Josh Bell's not doing shit. Josh Bell goes for a 2-run
Brandon Drury was the steal.
Dude, great call putting Grisham in center.
He's killing you guys.
He's phenomenal. He's a stud out there. And yeah, man, like
Darvish
Machado is having
really
an MVP caliber season from Machado. Goldschmidt, the probable MVP, is out of the playoffs. Machado's still in. So, shout out to them for playing well.
Right. I'll give one shout out too, since you're a shout out Padres, but Han-Sung Kim, he was great. Stepping in for Tatis, you didn't really expect much, but his defense has been elite. I mean, they were talking, and I agree with the broadcast last night. They were talking about where do you put Tatis in when he comes back, because I think Han-Sung Kim has earned that spot. He's a way better defensive shortstop, and he's hitting. I mean, listen, is he the hitter that Tatis is? No, but I've already talked about how I think they should move Tatis, later on. So. But good on him.
I think we could also, like, I think not only should they move him to a different position, I think they should just move him to another team, like, altogether. So
good luck.
So
good luck moving that contract and that drama.
We'll see. Like, we talked about the potential of like an Angels or like something like that, but we'll talk more about that another episode.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Guardians and Rays. This was a pitching duel, both games. I'm not going to spend too much time on this series, but Jose Ramirez hits the big homer in game 1. It was good to see Glass now back in game 2. The second game went 15 innings, and the Guardians won it with a walk-off homer from Oscar Gonzalez. Bieber pitched really well. McKenzie pitched really well. All the pitchers on both sides pitched really well, and that's kind of what this series was.
Yeah, I got nothing to add. I think what were there? 3? I mean, there were 3 runs, right? There was the Jose Ramirez home run.
I think it was 2-1 in the first game, right? And then 1-0 in the second game.
The Rays scored 1 in the first, but
let me double check that. But yeah,
Ramirez scores, gets both RBIs with a home run, and then Gonzalez gets the 1 RBI in the second game with a home run. This proves absolutely nothing to me, in all honesty.
Right.
It's a weird 2-game series that just happened there. I think the Yankees can score, man. I mean,
we'll talk about that. We'll get into the Guardians Yankees here at the end, but because if you want to talk more Guardians, it's just this series there just wasn't much, man. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not scared.
Pitching,
like, for you guys, like, I'm not scared if they're gonna go up and have 3 RBIs on 2 home runs and nothing else, and skate their way. Like, you could think about it like, it was a good pitching performance, but you could throw anyone up against, the Yankees lineup, and they can score, especially with Judge, right? Like, there's no, like, you got to be able to score you got to be able to score runs if you're going up against.
The objective is to outscore the other team. That's the game. So we'll see what the Guardians could do. But I am going to talk about their lineup in that when we get to that. So,
okay.
But yeah, like I said, and it was 2-1 the first game. I just double checked it. So Rays had 1, Guardians had 2. So this series I wanted to talk about, the Mariners Blue Jays, just unspeakable from the Blue Jays right now. So first game, Castillo shoves. He's an ace. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, 5 Ks. Robbie Ray gets absolutely shelled in game 2. He's taken out in the 3rd inning. I think he gave up 4 runs, I think. Gossman was shoving too, but I think left with the bases loaded. And then explain this to me, that the Mariners are down 8-1. And how do you lose an 8-1 game in the postseason? They come back and win it. Like, that's so much grit from them. Robbie Ray was abysmal, right? And even Paul Sewald comes in, who's been one of their better relievers all year, and he's terrible. He's throwing the ball away. The Blue Jays are just like taking this game, and then the Mariners just come back and they just lock it in. They win. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it
Congrats to
was
the Mariners.
insane. It was insane. Blue Jays fans feeling worse than me right now for
You have
sure.
to, for sure.
That's just I mean, yeah, I mean, they still could have lost game 3, I guess, but like how do you give up an 8-1 lead? Fans are thinking they're coming. Fans left probably thinking they're
Yeah,
coming
let me
back
get home
tomorrow.
before the traffic
Let
gets
me get
crazy.
home. Like, yeah, it's 8-1. This game's over. That's just horrible, man. I mean,
And I got a couple
that's
things on the Blue
yeah.
Jays, and we'll get more into like their expectations in our offseason episodes. But they were like projected to win the series this year. Their team, their lineup, like the players that they have, the trades they made at the deadline, like they were looking like they were making the right moves. They lost their manager, they fired him, like they were underperforming. The defense hasn't been there.
Mhm.
And then they come out and they say things like Vlad said last year, that, that was the trailer. This is the movie. Well, the movie just ended with you losing to the Mariners after you were up 8-1. So that's your movie. So I don't know, Blue Jays, they have to be better next year, especially with the amount of money that they've put into them, the players that they brought in. I just, it's such a, like, you look at that team and you're like, wow, that's what you guys did this season. Like they were projected to win the East.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Mets, Blue Jays, most disappointing teams by
Huge
far.
disappointment on the Blue Jays, but the Mariners are dangerous, and we're going to talk about their matchup against Houston. I liked how they had George Kirby out of the pen. I thought they were going to use him as maybe a game 4 starter, but it looks like he may be. I mean, he still could be, but it looks like they're going to use him in that pen role. So
Yeah, I mean,
good on the Mariners.
I think Austin said it last week. Like, I think the Mariners have a better shot against the Astros than the Blue Jays would have, and we talked about
Oh,
momentum
for sure.
going into these divisional series, and I think that how much more momentum can you have than what the
Yeah, you don't
Mariners
get
have
more
right
momentum
now?
than coming back from an 8-1 postseason game. So
No.
that's as momentum as it gets.
Yeah, man. So if they could somehow, put up some runs against Verlander, put up a couple against him and try to take one of 2 of the first 2 games, and then you got your aces coming back for, for the weekend games. I don't see why they can't take this series. Like you said, like they've had some. Castillo is just
Shut
awesome on the
down,
mound.
man.
He's just so freaking good. He like that I think you have to like you almost have to favor the Mariners in a game where Castillo's facing one of the, the Astros 3 or 4 guys, right? Like,
Yeah, and I'll say this, we were talking last week about how you said, the momentum can be a big factor. And I was saying, well, the pitching might be more of a factor. And that's kind of the debate with the wild card, right? Is okay, you play the wild card and you lose your best pitching, but now you have this momentum going in. With the Mariners, I think this was a huge win for them because now they have that momentum and they still have Logan Gilbert, and then they can just go right back to Castillo if they want to do short rest. I mean, so they have options. It's not like they're going to have to go out there and throw a 5-starter, especially when
yeah.
in 2 games instead of 3, like they're saving days for their guys. So I think,
Yeah,
and we'll get into the Mariners Houston in a little bit, but I really like that matchup for them.
yeah, I was gonna say we're jumping the gun a little bit, but
We
yeah,
are.
just real quick, I think that I think if I'm the Mariners, I save Castillo for a home game on the weekend.
Mm-hmm. It's
But yeah,
not a bad call. So we'll move on from that. And, takes a big man to admit his mistakes. And I think me, you, and Austin all need to admit our mistakes here because all of us had the Cardinals.
Dude, the whole country's got to admit their mistakes.
What the hell?
We
could
had
not
them
have been more
sweeping.
wrong. We could not have been more wrong. The
We had them
Phillies sweeping
sweeping,
2.
man.
Yeah, Philly
Yeah.
sweeping 2. Wheeler and Nola shut it down. And then I have been bashing the Phillies bullpen all year. The bullpen locked it down. I don't even think the bullpen gave up a run in either game. So the Phillies are dangerous. They're dangerous. I redact. Well, I can't redact it because it already happened. But I said the Cardinals were going to win. But I said the Phillies weren't going to really be much of a threat. I said they could have been if their offense got going. Which I don't want to like sit here and say, oh, the offense got going because they scored 2 runs. But a lot of guys had good games. Bryce Harper had a good game. Real Muto had a good game. Baum, third base, he was making plays, getting hits. I mean, they were doing it. Gene Segura,
The ball.
Yeah. So the Phillies are definitely something to watch out for, and we can talk about them here in a minute because they're going to be facing the Braves. So did you have anything else on this? I had one more thing, actually. The Cardinals, that's it. Yachty, Pujols, probably Wainwright. That's it. That's it.
Crazy.
Wainwright's not 100. I think he's the only one not 100%, but I'd have to imagine that all 3 of them are going to go out together.
Yeah, kind of crazy that run is over, that reign is over. But I mean, Phillies come back down 2-0 in the 9th. That was crazy. The game 1. Wheeler, by the way, is awesome. Wheeler,
is.
an ex-Met. That's tough to see. He's awesome. And yeah, I think that we were bashing them about their bullpen. I think at the end of the season,
I was hard and I
you
was
were
wrong.
hard, and you were right. Like at the time, you were right. This is
And we'll
what
see
I'm
what
saying.
happens next
Hindsight's
series.
2020,
Yeah,
man.
it
Like
is.
it's crazy. Like they came out, um, they came out and shoved 2 games in a row. I think getting some of those guys that maybe are more of the starter, like lower end starter guys into the bullpen may have helped as well. Because I think if I'm not wrong, Eflin closed for them, right?
You know what?
Yeah,
I
Eflin closed for
think
them
so.
the
Yeah.
second game, and he was awesome. And I believe he's had more of a starter or like reserved role. He wasn't their all season closer, if I'm not mistaken. So that was pretty cool to see. They played really well, man. And Bryce
Yeah.
Harper coming up with a big home run. I can't believe I have to root for this team going up against the Braves.
Yeah.
And
No, I
it's
know.
it's
Congrats to Rob
wild.
Thompson. That's his. He took this team. I think they were 22 and 26 at the time when they fired Girardi, and he took this team and he turned it around. And good for him. He just won 2 of his first postseason appearances. So congrats to Rob Thompson. He's obviously doing something right.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
congrats
So
to the Phillies.
yeah, we can move on to the matchups now. This is where it's going to get interesting. So we'll start off with Padres Dodgers. I believe the broadcast last night said the Padres were going to start Minaya. Minaya, not as good as last year. He hasn't been that good as a Padre. I mean, he hasn't been god awful either. And the Dodgers have not announced a game 1 starter, but their options are Tyler Anderson, Tony Gonsolin, Urias, and Kershaw. For some reason, I don't see it being Gonsolin. I know he's coming off that injury, so I'm sure they're going to save him for like a game 2 or 3, give him a little bit extra time to get ready. I could be wrong. I don't think Andrew Heaney is a part of the starting rotation. He may come out of the pen, which I did want to see him in the rotation because he's been extremely good this year. But the Padres have not matched up against the Dodgers this year at all. Yu Darvish has not been good against the Dodgers. The Dodgers have continuously beat the Padres this year. I don't even have the game log of what the record is for these 2 teams, but I know the Dodgers have been dominant. So you have to hate this matchup as a Padre.
Oh yeah, I mean anyone's gonna hate the matchup against the 110 win team, right? Or 108 wins, whatever it turned out to be. But I think that the Padres have to. I think the Padres have to win game 1 to even have a chance in this series. But everything that we've stated about the Padres the whole season about, or at least since the All-Star break, about how their lineup wasn't as good as they said it was going to be. You have Tatis getting suspended and all the negativity. They might not even make the playoffs, all this blah, blah, blah. And, first series against the Mets, their pitching is awesome for the most part. And their lineup is ecstatic. So they, I think that they have a shot, man. Like, because if their lineup can do something against, I think it'll be Urias. They said, I saw something that said it's either him or Kershaw, and they're keeping it close to the vest, which is probably pretty smart. I don't know why.
Yeah, we'll find out Tuesday morning. That's when it has to be dropped. So.
But yeah, I think that if they can somehow put up some runs against Urias or Kershaw, whoever it is, and actually win game 1, then they have a chance, because then they got 1 game in LA. If they lose game 1, man, it's going to be tough in my opinion, because I can't see them winning 3 of 4 against the Dodgers.
The Dodgers just have so much depth. I mean, their lineup is essentially an all-star team. Their rotation has been good this year, even without Walker Buehler. The thing that I worry about, and the Dodgers are in a similar situation with my Yankees, is like they don't really have a set closer. Like they got Kimbrel, and he hasn't worked out. They do have other guys in that pen. Yeah, I don't know if you want to put. I mean, he's never really close before, but they do have Gratterall. They have a couple guys that they can, I guess, lean to. But the Padres, I mean, you could say that they're in a similar boat because Hader hasn't been what they thought. I mean, he's been better as of late, so you could see some weird closing matchups in this series. But I'm gonna make my pick right now. If you want to do yours after, I'm gonna pick the Dodgers. I think the pitching is going to be huge for them. They have the advantage. I just don't like the way the Padres have played against the Dodgers this year at all. And I know it's postseason and postseason vibes. It's different. I will say this about the Padres, though. I want to see Yu Darvish pitch well against the Dodgers. Like he hasn't really done it too much this year. And I want to see him come in and be that shutdown ace that he's supposed to be. And against the Dodgers, that's a really hard ask. But I think the Dodgers are going to take it.
Man. This would have been so much easier 4 days ago. I got Padres in 4.
Wow.
I think they take it with the momentum they've got. I think Soto's back to the baseball player he is. Yeah, another thing that I forgot to mention earlier, by the way, and I think this is something that I really, another reason I really like them is that they were playing some great small ball. Some of the best small ball I've seen in baseball this season. You know, obviously Grisham hit a couple home runs. Machado hit a bomb in I think it was game 1 or 2.
The
So
defense was great.
they had their home run. Their defense was great, but their small ball that they played, and the reason I noticed it is because that's what the Mets were doing so well before the All-Star break, man. And they just hadn't been doing that since. They got too cocky, too hot, too quick. And I think the Padres are the opposite, where they didn't have it after the All-Star break. Their bats weren't doing as well. And I think there must have been something said in that coaching staff that we got to play some more small ball, steal some bases, bunt. You see Soto bunting over guys to get them into scoring position, like some crazy stuff, right? That you would never
big leadership moments from Machado too. Like he came out, I think it was, I can't remember what pitcher it was, but he came out, calmed it down. Like he's really turned it around for me. He's a player that was, I don't want to say doing dirty stuff, but starting fights early in his career. He was sliding into people. He was kind of a troublemaker a little bit. And now he's on the Padres and it's like a complete 180. Like I think he needs to be the captain of that team. He shows so much leadership and does so much. And you can tell he really connects with the other guys. So
I got Padres at 4, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna still say Dodgers, but if the Padres win, then they're gonna win the World Series. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't
see them winning a game 5. Yeah, if they get to game 5, I can't see them winning a game 5 in LA. But I think that if they can take it in 4, they take it in 4.
Right. Okay, so we're good on that. Let's move to the Braves Phillies. And before we start this series, this broke this morning when I woke up. I saw it. The Atlanta Braves have signed breakout rookie right-handed pitcher, our guy, Spencer Strider, to a 6-year, $75 million contract. That includes a 7th-year club option, which, if exercised, would bring the total value of 7 years, $92 million. So then there's this to look at, tweeted by Jeff Passan. Few teams have cores as good as Atlanta. No team is close to locking up their core like this. Austin Riley is signed through 2033. Michael Harris is signed through 2032. Olsen is signed through 2030. Spencer Strider now signed till 2029. Acuna Jr. 2028. Vaughn Grisham 2028. Ozzie Albies 2027. William Contreras 2027, and Kyle Wright 2026. So I continue to applaud the Braves front office. They are evaluating young talent, bringing them up early, seeing what they have, and then locking them in long term. I think that's so smart. They're going to save money because a guy like Spencer Strider, who has ace potential, could, if they let him go through arbitration and all that, I mean, he can command a huge contract. And now they're not, I don't want to say taking that away from him, but they're giving him the option where, hey, do you want to get a bag now and you can possibly get another bag later? Or do you want to bet on yourself for the next X amount of years that he's in arbitration and go get a monster contract? So I think it's smart on both the player and the team. So really, I continue to applaud the Braves. Their front office is doing smart things.
They're doing exactly what they need to be doing. They're kind of meeting in the middle, right? Like they're saying, all right, you have this potential. You could be this ace guy, but there is a chance that you get injured or you fall off a little bit and you don't get that bag. Different sport, but you see what Dennis Schroeder did when he had his season with the or not Dennis Schroeder. Was it Dennis Schroeder? I forgot who it was. If you have you could have an $80 million contract now or $75 million in Strider's case and lock it up and then get a bag later. If you still are the ace that you are, you see Scherzer still doing crazy things at 39. You could still get that bag later on, and you guarantee yourself $75 million right now.
He's 23 years old. Too. I'm taking
23 years old, 100%, and you get to stay with your team that you've gone on this amazing run with, like great vibes.
People love playing in Atlanta, and I'll say this: I know you're not a huge A-Rod fan. I obviously am, but I watched the K-Rod cast like one time this year, and they were talking about signing players early, and A-Rod talked about when you're the player and the agent, when you get offered a contract early in your career, it kind of takes your power away because you don't have that option to say, okay, I'm going to go bet on myself for 1 year like Judge is doing and go get a monster contract, because now you say, okay, I'm going to bet on myself for 4 to 5 years, or I think arbitration is 5 years now, instead of just taking the bag. So again, the Braves, they just keep doing it. But let's talk about them versus the Phillies. I think the Braves are the better team. And look, Phillies, prove me wrong again. Like, tell me I'm wrong again. Like, you already did once, do it again. but the Braves, I think, have better pitching. I'm going to imagine that the Phillies are going to go with either Syndergaard or Gibson. I could be wrong. They haven't announced yet. So I think the Braves have an all-around better defensive team, better lineup. They have the guys on there with a lot of postseason experience now. And I think the pitching and the bullpen is just better. I think they are just a better team than the Phillies all around.
Yeah. No, yeah. I want the Phillies, but I think Braves could sweep. I think Braves could sweep.
There's potential. I hate calling a sweep in the playoffs. I'm good at picking a winner, but I'm not good at picking how many games. I think it's the Braves though. I mean, look, like I said, Phillies.
It's in 3 or 4.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they'll sweep, but I think it's 3 or 4. But I think
they'll take it in 4. The Phillies have so much momentum right now. I think they'll take at least one game, but you have to imagine
they have the depth in the pitching staff to hold,
especially Nolan Wheeler
games,
not going against the first 2.
Going against Fried, and Strider would be second, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough ask. That's a really good team to play. The Braves are, and the rise of Iglesias is back. He's closing. Charlie Morton has been good in the postseason. He'll probably be the game 2. Maybe Spencer Strider's the game 3. And then they have other options like Kyle Wright and Odorizzi can be out of the pen. Like Bryce Elder has been something else for them this year. So they just have so many players that can do so much. I just think it's the Braves.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but let's move on. Mariners and Astros. I don't know. It's maybe I don't think it's a hot take with me and you necessarily, but maybe it's a hot take in baseball. Like I'm going Mariners here. I really am. I know game 1 is Justin Verlander.
How many games?
I'm so bad with how many games. But I just think they haven't, Logan Gilbert. I don't think too many people realize the season he had. Like he was the Mariners' top guy for pretty much all year until they got Castillo, and now he's going to go against Verlander. And does it hurt not having Castillo in game 1? Sure, but you just throw Logan Gilbert in the mix. I mean, I know the Astros lineup is so dangerous up and down, but the Mariners have proven that they can come back from a deficit. They got that grit. They got that dog. They got pitching. They have a bullpen. I'm a Mariners guy right now with this. I don't know. Tell me, you're wearing a Mariners hat right now, so I'm assuming you're on the same page with me.
Your assumption would be wrong.
Oh,
I want the Mariners. You guys know I'm a big anti-Astros fan after their cheating scandal. I never forget, man. Never forget. But yeah, I think the Astros got it. I think they got it, and it's gonna be tough though. I don't think it's automatic, and I'm not very confident. I definitely, I paused there, like I thought about it. I think I got Astros. I think Astros close it out in 5 at home in a big game 5. But to your point, the Mariners, I believe that 7-run comeback is tied for the largest in MLB postseason history. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you might be right.
I think that's right. So that is crazy.
That's right.
We'll go with it. That's crazy. That's just an absolute, to go into a series like that. After that, I just got to believe that Verlander, sub 2 ERA Verlander, nonetheless, veteran Verlander, one of the best pitchers we've ever seen. Verlander
has so much postseason experience.
So you're telling me to me, they automatically have game 1 and game 5. He'd pitch he potentially would pitch game 5, right? If they're playing a game 5 in Houston on, I think that would be next Monday, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it would be next Sunday. I'm not sure what the schedule would be, but it would be either next Sunday or Monday on 5 or 6 days rest. So you're telling me that he's pitching twice at a sub 2 ERA, one of the best seasons he's ever had, low key.
No, it is. And he's getting older and getting better.
I think those are auto wins for them. So for me to say that Mariners take it to 5, actually, I think is real credit to them to be able to even win two of 3 that Verlander won't be pitching this series, if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah, Verlander lives by the quote, the older you get, the better you get. And that's what he's doing. So I'm a big proponent of experience, and the Astros have way more postseason experience than the Mariners do. I know the Mariners are coming off that 21-year drought. I know there's some players who have been in the postseason on their team, but the experience is just there for the Astros. But I'm still going Mariners. It's partially biased because I'm like you. I'm not an Astros fan. Like I know the cheating scandal was so long ago. I don't forget it. But yeah, I really like the Mariners this year. Like they have shown something different. They're just different, built different.
Yeah, man.
So let's move on. Guardians, Yankees. I'm going to open this one up with a quick hot story that Aroldis Chapman didn't show up to practice on Friday. So the Yankees have DFA'd him. He will not be on the postseason roster, which I am thrilled about. I don't think he was going to be on the postseason roster anyway, regardless if he showed up to practice or not. The Yankees are saying because he didn't show up to practice that he's DFA'd, but I cannot watch Aroldis Chapman blow another game. Like in the postseason or in the regular season at all. Like I know they're not bringing him back, so I want to get rid of Aroldis Chapman. It looks like that's the way it is. Like I guess he's still potential for the CS if they make it that far. I don't see it, so I'm glad that he's off the roster. The Yankees still have a lot of roster decisions to make with Matt Carpenter and Benintendi. If those guys can come back, who's not going to be on the roster? It's a big crunch, and the Yankees are kind of like the Dodgers where they're keeping it close to the vest right now. But it looks like the Guardians are going to have to throw out Cal Quantrill, and then the Yankees are going to throw Cole. Thoughts?
Yeah, man. I said it earlier. I think that it's worrisome for me that the Guardians scored twice on two big hits, right? They scored on Ramirez home run, and they scored on the home run in the 15th, right, to close out the series. So,
but now the Rays, you have to remember, are also an elite pitching team. So I don't know if that's a factor for you or not.
You mean the Guardians?
Well, the Guardians are playing the Rays, and the Rays are elite pitching. So them not scoring a lot of runs doesn't really move the needle for me. But
well, they didn't. It's not that they didn't score a lot of runs; it's that they scored 3 runs on 2 hits. Like that doesn't do it for me. I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, that the Yankees don't have that same level of elite pitching that the Rays do. I just think that that the Rays do, but I don't know. I think that the Yankees got it in 4. I don't think you have much to worry about.
No, I think the Yankees got it. I don't know. And this is hot take season for me, I guess, but I just don't love Cole against this team. Like there's, Josh Naylor has hit him in the past. There are a lot of high average hitters, low strikeout lineup, but then again, Cole is a high strikeout guy. But looking at Cole this year, like he's been really big on giving up the long ball, and I just don't love Cole. I would have started Nestor, and I know it's a money thing. Like, okay, Cole's making this much, and he's the solidified ace, and he's this for the organization. And I hate that, man. I'm like, whoever's playing the best needs to be in that spot. And people don't want to hear it, but it's Nestor Cortez. Yeah. Like he's been way better than Garrett Cole has this year. It's not even close. Well, so
I guarantee a Ramirez shot into the porch like that.
That's the guy you got to pitch around. I don't know.
Yeah. Unless they just walk him 8 times, or however many times this series. But I think that there are ways that I could see the Guardians winning this series. Don't get me wrong. Like I definitely wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't be the craziest thing ever, but I do think that the Yankees got it. I think it's tough.
I like the matchup better. I like the Guardians are just not on the level that the Yankees are on offensively. I don't think. I need to see Cole like come out and absolutely shove and be the ace. I need to see it. Need to. He has to. Like if he doesn't come out and shove and he's like, then you have to reevaluate his position in the rotation next year. He just hasn't been good this year. I mean, if you look at the overall numbers, like, his ERA is good, but then you look at, okay, he's given up the most long balls out of any American League pitcher. So that's Garrett Cole for you. He's having a weird year for sure. And I want to see him go out there and just absolutely shove. I don't think Benintendi is going to be back for this series, but imagine Benintendi, Bader, Judge, outfield. Like that's unreal. So I like the Yankees in this one. I'm also going to say 4 games, even though I haven't really been saying games, but yeah.
The only other thing that scares me if I'm a Yankees fan is that they're going to pitch around Judge. Like it's not like they might not even pitch to Judge. They're going to, they might not throw one pitch in the strike zone to Judge.
Yeah. If the Guardians want to win, they have to pitch around Judge. I don't see them pitching him.
because you said that they don't match up from an offensive standpoint, but I actually disagree. I think that they, besides Judge, which is a huge besides, right? Like Judge is the best hitter in baseball.
Right.
Besides Judge, though, I think the rest of the lineup out hits the Yankees lineup, day in, day out. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure the stats would back that up. Like you said, they're a low strikeout team,
High
high
average
walk,
team.
they put the ball in play, high average. And the Yankees, besides Judge, are not that team.
And this is the caveat is like, you have to see, okay, what Yankees team is showing up? Is it
I think
Yankees or
Stanton is the plug. Stanton is the key this series, man, for you guys. Stanton has to be able to hit too, because if he can hit, then they can't really pitch around Judge as much. Right. Like they can't pitch the other guys as much.
Right. And there's really, DJ LeMahieu he's not even 100% on the roster right now. So he's their best base hitter and he's gone. I mean, he may be on the bench, but he's not starting. So you have to hope you get postseason Anthony Rizzo, like good Anthony Rizzo, which I think Anthony Rizzo is going to be fine. I hope Cabrera can continue his hot streak. You have to hope Donaldson stays hot. Glaber, I know he was sick like the last two days of the season, but you have to hope that he carries into what he's been doing and he can be what he is. And then you're 100% right on Stanton. Like he has to be postseason Stanton because Judge is going to get pitched around. There's no doubt about it, 100%. So they're going to pitch around Judge. Stanton has to be hot. And then the bottom of that lineup just has to perform. Like Trevino has to be there. IKF has to do what he does and hit the ball and get on base. They just have to perform. And that's the thing about the Yankees. It's like, okay, what Yankees are you going to get? Are you going to get hot Yankees or are you going to get August Yankees? It's, but I'm still going Yankees. I think they got it.
I think they got it, but I thought the Mets had it. I thought the Cardinals.
the Cardinals had it. It's such a we couldn't have been so wrong.
I guess I believe I picked the Guardians, so I'm happy about that one, and I believe I picked the Mariners. But yeah, I was wrong I was 2 of 4, so I don't like those odds very much for you because I think the Yankees got it, but it's 50-50 on me right now. So
yeah, I'm gonna go Yankees. Do you have anything else on the postseason? If not, I have one thing for you before we wrap it up.
No, man. I mean, it's gonna be tough for me to watch, but I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be there are some great matchups. I'm excited for everything else. I'm excited not to worry about the Mets. Honestly, obviously I'd rather them be in it, but I'm excited not to have to agonize over it day in and day out.
So now that your Mets are out of it, are you watching one specific team more than others? Or are you just going to kind of bounce around, go through all? Because obviously I'm watching the Yankees more than others, but as a baseball fan, I'm keeping up with everything, watching highlights, flipping back and forth. Or do you have a set team that you're going to lock into now?
Like I'm picking that I want to see win.
Just a team that you want to watch in particular for the rest of the postseason.
If I had to pick a team that it's tough.
I don't even want to say one that you want to win, just one that you want to watch and just that's the game you're going to throw on tonight.
I'm not throwing. I don't think they start tonight, but I'm not throwing on any Tuesday. Tonight if there are games tonight. Okay, tomorrow night. Let's see. Let me go through. Let me look at the matchups real quick.
You got Dodgers, Padres, Braves, Phillies, Mariners, Astros, Guardians, Yankees.
I would say for me, it's the West Coast Dodgers, Padres, and the Mariners, Astros that intrigue me the most.
Okay. So I have. Oh, God. Sorry.
No. I'm picking the team that I want to see. The team that I want to see that win the most right now, I think would probably be the Mariners. Even though I know I picked the Astros in that series, I think that would be freaking awesome.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. So I have a trivia question for you. I don't think you're going to get it before we close it out.
Probably.
I know you're not going to get it because it's not a stat question and you're a stat-driven guy. So. Okay, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, are you familiar?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
He played college football.
Yeah.
With a future teammate of his in baseball. Do you know who that player was? That he played college football with and professional MLB baseball with on the same team?
Wow. No, I have no idea. I have no clue.
The big hurt Frank Thomas.
Dude, I feel like
at Auburn.
Yeah, did they say this on the
I
broadcast.
think they said it on the broadcast the other day.
Yeah, they said it on a broadcast the other day because I was like, it's somebody. I think we were maybe even been talking about it in the chat. I was like, I know it, but like I don't know it enough to think about it. I'm waste time, but oh damn, that's awesome, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up with that. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, share us around, help us get out there. We'll be back next Monday with more on the postseason. So we're excited.
Oh yeah, let's go Mariners. Shove.
Shove.
Let's go.
Thanks very much for listening to The Ball Club. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.